It took a while, ladies and gentlemen, but it is here. Well, it's almost here. The new Last Epoch patch, the largest patch yet. So what's in it? Let's find out. Hey everyone, this is Thyworm, and today let's talk about Last Epoch patch 0.7.9, where I will be discussing the preview patch article and give you my thoughts. Enjoying Last Epoch content? Consider subscribing. Something that has been teased for a very long time now, and to some extent kinda spoiled in the various Last Epoch streams running on Twitch, was an overhaul of the Monolith of Fate. The devs, who sometimes refer to this endgame system as the Monolith because of its limited scope currently, will release a big overhaul soon, which should really give the Monolith a bit more gravitas. On top of this, you can expect a bunch of added zones to increase variety. There will be a detailed dev blog later this week, which I will cover in a separate video, but some highlights are already described. One of those, one I find very interesting actually, is that the Monolith does no longer scale with character level. This is a pretty massive change. Regardless of the game you're playing, usually enemies have levels. And those levels are either dynamic, which means they scale with you as you level up, or they are static, which means you get your ass kicked when you're walking into the wrong zone. Without exception, I don't really like dynamic scaling in any game, for two reasons. First, the most important one, progression. Skyrim has dynamic scaling in the vanilla game, but as soon as you start modding it, which you should, and install Requiem, which you should, enemy levels become static. If you manage to level up to around level 5, killing mudcrabs and doing chores for townspeople, you maybe dare venture into a bandit cave. You got yourself some armor, maybe some skills, and you might survive. Should you, for whatever reason, encounter a dragon, you are toast. Progress through the game, level up, get more gear, learn more abilities, and over time, bandits become trivial. It is this progression that is very rewarding, as you can see the result of your hard work displayed in instant decapitation of bandits, where before you would get slaughtered by them. In hack and slash games, this is no different. Path of Exile has this system in place because maps have a set monster level, and all the way up to tier 16 maps you need to get increasingly stronger to even stand a chance to complete a map that way. As you gather more levels and gear, you do feel more powerful. Lower tier maps become trivial and progression is real and rewarding. Last Epoch doesn't really have this. Only in the campaign monster levels are static, but in all endgame systems they are dynamic, which isn't a good thing. Also because of the second reason, immersion. Monster scaling usually means, with Skyrim being an exception actually, that you will be fighting the same monsters over and over again, but they just increase in levels. This is something that the developers of Kill Squad mentioned as well as a contributing factor to the lack of progression in that game. But I would argue it is more than that, although it is intertwined. It just doesn't make sense that at level 85 you're still killing small zombies, but now they're level 85 as well, and you encountered these guys while you were level 20. I'm not suggesting we should only be fighting siege golems, please no, but I think you get the point. So, how is Last Epoch going to solve this? By allowing you to empower the content available in the Monolith of Fate. And that is all the details we're getting, more in the dev blog about this. My main concern would be if the Monolith can still be used to level up your character, instead of having to go through the entire campaign for each character, which just isn't that much fun after 15 times. On to items. 2 new affix tiers are added, tier 6 and 7. What is interesting about these tier levels is that you can't craft these, which means you can only obtain them if they're already available on a dropped item. A system with multiple tier levels for affixes, some craftable, some not, will help a lot in loot diversity in the endgame. Uniques can be tweaked more as a result as well. These tiers are meant as a new long-term goal, chase items, something to grind for. Now, without a loot filter, there's no way I'm going to grind for these items with these tiers on them, because manually hovering over loot isn't something I'm enjoying necessarily all that much, and currently the main reason I'm not playing Last Epoch endgame. Patch 0.7.9 comes with new skills as well. Acolytes get Bone Curse, which is meant to replace Mark for Death, which will be decommissioned. The skill, that is. The curse effect remains in the game. The Necromancer gets 2 new skills as well. The first is Assemble Abomination, where you are creating your own grotesque creature out of your undead army, based on the minions it consumes, it gains different abilities. It's basically a Frankenstein monster, and on paper this looks like an amazing skill, and it could be the thing necromancers need to conquer late endgame, because right now they're struggling a bit. The second necro skill is Dreadshade, a massive damage buff. It can be used to buff your own armies, but also offer specialization options to target enemies. The Sentinel gets new animations, and especially Forge Strike looks really cool. It feels super impactful. Now, what needs to be done is the animations of all the monsters, so it actually seems that you're hitting something. Visceral combat is something that Last Epoch currently lacks, but there's time. In all honesty, I don't really notice too much difference in the other animations, but it's sometimes hard to tell from a 3-second clip. When playing the Sentinel in patch 0.7.9, I am sure the difference is very noticeable. The map UI got a bit of an overhaul, mainly intended for new players and those who tend to get lost while questing. The updated UI contains many markers to improve navigation. Expect map markers, quest markers and indicators in which eras you still have quests. Because to be fair, while the time traveling mechanic sometimes sees some very original use, although the concept is heavily underused at the moment, it also adds a lot of confusion for new players, because where the heck are you supposed to be, right? I mean, you could read the quests, but we all know we're not playing these games to improve our English skills, so to expect people to read is a bit much. Like I mentioned, there's more to come in a dev blog, which I will be covering on the channel later this week. I hope you enjoyed the videos, ladies and gents. Thanks so much for watching and making it to the end. See you soon. Bye bye.